what is going on, and this is going to be the first video that I officially make for the Rapid City Stang Gang. Obviously this is my car. It's a 2007 Mustang GT. It's a premium edition, has just about every option that came with them in 2007, and a lot more aftermarket mods besides. And just kind of going to be going over it. I'm going to start it up, drive it, and kind of give my thoughts on it. I mean, obviously it's my car, but I'm going to try to be pretty level-headed and fair about it. But I mean, obviously what people like about these cars is the way they look. I mean, come on, you can't tell me that is not a great looking car. Yes, I know that my little fog light old thing, I know that's there. Please don't tell me about it. But anyway, people love the way these cars look, and especially because these cars look even better when you modify them. Like this thing, this is not the same car that rolled off the assembly line in 2007. It's a completely different car. And obviously this one is not really representative of what you will get if you just go and buy any old 05 to 09 Mustang GT, because it is pretty exceptionally clean and like decently heavily modified. Not anything crazy. I haven't opened up the engine yet, but that might be coming soon. No further comments on that. This is the 2007 Mustang GT Premium, 4.6 liter V8 3-valve engine. Kind of underrated in my opinion. Yeah, it's not as fast as the Coyote, but if you get in one of these cars and then you get in a 2-valve, this thing is a rocket ship compared to a 2-valve. I had a 2-valve, trust me, I know that. They are a little bit heavier, but they have more torque. It's a lot smoother. The transmission is nicer. The clutch is nicer. Just everything about these cars is nicer. The steering is perfect. I love the steering in these cars. It's not over-assisted, but it's not under. It's perfect. It's in that sweet spot. It's better than any other Mustang I've driven. And the ride quality isn't bad. I mean, it's not good. Obviously, my car's lower and it has some pretty serious suspension work done to it. And it's 10 years old. But otherwise, it's fairly nice. And the interiors in these cars, I think, are some of the best looking. A lot of people like them, especially when you get the premium cars, like the base model cars. They have like the black plastic dash pieces, black plastic air vents, and the non-my color cluster. I mean, obviously I can't really demonstrate that in the daytime, but the leather's nice on these seats too. It doesn't wrinkle up and just tear like the paper leather that they put on the New Edge cars, or it doesn't crack like crazy like the freaking I don't know what you call it, like buffalo hide or whatever they call it. Like, it's just really hard leather in the SN95s, and it's gotten better throughout the years. Like the 11 to 14 cars were better yet, and the S550s, I don't know, they're not really old enough to see how good the insides hold up, but these cars do okay. They have a lot of plastic in them, yes, but they are far better than the New Edge cars, or really any Mustang that came before it. And it's my belief that this is the generation where the quality began to come into the Mustang. It wasn't immediately like, you know, German craftsmanship, but it was a step in the right direction, if you ask me. Another thing that's so great about these cars, and my car's a great example of it, obviously, as I mentioned, it's heavily modified. There's so many parts available for these cars, and they're all fairly affordable. Like, these taillights weren't too bad. for what they are. Borla exhaust. I mean, this is a generation before stuff started getting really crazy, and everything you can think of doing to one of these, you can do. Even my example is this steering wheel that I have on this car, this 2011. That's a factory part from a 2011, and looks very good in there. It's just these things that look very nice. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the inside and outside. Now it's time to let this girl sing the song of her people. Tire pressure. Anyway, these cars have a big sound to them. Mine is rather loud since it has the off-road H-pipe and Borla attacks, which is probably one of the loudest setups you can have, but I like it. Anyway, it's about time to get going on that drive. Notice about these cars stock is that the stock tune in them, it's not like bad by any means. It's fine, but it's not something that, basically what I'm trying to get at is, if you're coming from like an SN95 new edge car, get ready for a shock, because these cars, it's easy to go from a Coyote, like an SN to a Coyote. Sorry, my exhaust does rattle a little bit. I know the cause of it, I just haven't fixed it yet. But going from an SN to a Coyote is not too hard. It's pretty, those cars are pretty forgiving. These cars, I wouldn't say they're unforgiving, but it definitely doesn't feel like a car that wants to help you out. Just sounds so good. Just had to shut up for a second. Anyway, but that can be easily fixed with a tune, because most of it, I feel, is the throttle response, because the throttle response factory from these cars is not very good. You can't do throttle blips, and it just, I mean, it was really their first attempt at it, and I did notice that the stock tune in this car was better than the stock tune in my 05. That, I think it feels slightly different. Same, well, the clutch is an aftermarket clutch in this car, but even, like, you know, the pedal feels a little bit different. There's not as much slop in it. I think they kind of got it, you know, more on point, if you will. And they do feel a little bit better, which is always good. And as I said, the transmission in these cars is just, like, everything about these cars, with the exception of like the throttle response and pedal feel, is literally, like, you know, second to none as far as I'm concerned with Mustangs. Like, I haven't really spent much time in S550s. That might change my mind, but up to this point I've driven every generation from Fox body to 2014, and this is by far, like, for what I use it for, this is by far the best the best feeling setup that you can get in a Mustang, without a doubt. And I wasn't even on it. And that's something about these cars when you tune them too. Like if you tune them, if you do like a minor bolt-on setup and you don't tune it, it'll be fine, unless you're doing something crazy like, you know, cams or something. But like you get like, you know, mid pipe, axle back, cat back, and like, you know, your underdrives. A tune would definitely be the best option for you, because this thing is night and day ever since I got the tune put in it. It's not even close to feeling like the same car. Like, because the charge motion delete plates I had on it were just the economy ones, so it wasn't anything crazy. But reportedly, from what I read on forums about, you know, running them without a tune, really the worst thing is it robs your low end torque. And at first I was kind of like, maybe it's like the longer gearing that's doing that, making my car feel a little sluggish at lower RPMs, but no. It was certainly those charge motion delete plates really woke the car up, and now it feels great. I don't even know if I want to change those gears anymore. It really is that good. But as far as, you know, like acceleration and stuff, it's obviously not going to out-accelerate a Coyote. I would say this car is at around or just over 300 to the wheels now, which is a good amount. It's like I said, it's not going to outrun a Coyote at that. It's probably still like 50 horsepower, 50, 55, 60-ish horsepower down on what a Coyote makes stock. But you know, as long as all you want to do, and really all I want to do, is look good, drive around, have fun, roast some gears, make a lot of noise, I don't really care how fast my car goes down the quarter mile. If you really care, then get a Fox body and throw a couple turb skis on it, if that's something you really care about. But not me. I find more value in having something that I can look at and be proud of. I love it. And there's not really any good roads to test handling around here, but these cars, although you may think that the new Edges or the SN95s would be better handling platforms, you'd be wrong. Like this car feels so much more stable at high speeds. Like any speed above like 60-ish miles an hour, this car feels much more planted and much stabler, like around any sort of corner, than my new Edge ever did. And it might be down to the suspension work it has done, but a lot of that doesn't necessarily benefit it in a straight line. But this car corners fairly flat, it holds on pretty good, and it's just a lot of fun to drive. It's certainly no track day champion, but it does a little bit of everything, which is nice. And it's also a very daily drivable car. Like the AC in these S197s is wonderful. It will freeze you out or burn you out. It is that good. Got this Harley rattling itself to pieces in front of me. But anyway, very daily drivable. Although I would recommend a tune no matter what with these cars. Like stock, I'd recommend it too. Because all it can do is help you. Because these cars, they flow pretty good from the factory. And, like, I know I'm going to get a lot of new edge people in the comments saying, oh, my 2-valve's faster than that car. It's not. I owned a 2-valve with basically the same setup that this car has on it. And let me tell you, it was nothing like what this car is to drive. It was nowhere near as fast, didn't have near as much power, and it was a fun car, don't get me wrong. I'd love to own one, but if you're gonna buy a Mustang that you don't want to totally break the bank on, and you want to have something you can daily drive, this is much more daily driver friendly than any Fox platform Mustang. So Fox body, SN95, New Edge, doesn't matter. This is much more dailyable than any of those. Like, different planet. This thing, it's decently quiet. Like, if I don't want to be loud with these Borla attacks in this H-pipe, I don't have to be. I can drive it around and be pretty reasonably quiet. Which is something that I'm very happy about. I didn't expect, but if you're gonna daily this car, I'd highly recommend not making it as loud as mine. I don't necessarily daily it. I have been the past couple weeks because I got the tune and I just love it, and I've been wanting to drive it all the time, but it's not really a daily for me. I got that red thing you see in the rear window, not the 1320 sticker, the truck. I have that for a daily. I don't need this car to be something that I have to rely on all the time, which is nice. But anyway, that's about it for me. Just wanted to make a fun little video, a little bit different than I have in the past. Try out some new things, and hopefully you guys will like them. Be on the lookout for more videos. I'm gonna try to get my buddies, one or two of my buddies together this weekend, and maybe make something. We'll see. But until then, take it easy.